Thor Die Cow. It's this week on Blu-ray and DVD. I am taking 2 weeks off, so this is your holiday edition with all the great titles that you may want to get just in time for Christmas. We begin with Matt Damon in the sci-fi thriller Elysium. This is from District 9 director Neil Blomkamp, and it's set in the year 2154, where two classes of people exist: the very wealthy who live on a pristine man-made space station called Elysium, and the rest of us who live in an overpopulated, dirty Earth. Check it out.
He's reloading!
There you go, just an example of some of the stunning action you'll find in this movie. But if you're looking for the substance and the depth of District 9, you're not going to find it here. This is more of a superficial, almost comic book type movie, but it's got some visuals that are stunning, and Damon really carries the film. He has an accident, shall we say, that involves some nuclear radiation poisoning, so he has to find a way to get to Elysium to heal himself. I won't tell you much more about the plot, but it's got some good performances in it. Just don't expect another District 9 on your hands. The bonus materials exclusive to the Blu-ray include an extended scene, visions of 2154, an interactive exploration of the art and design of the world, plus a couple of featurettes on the journey to Elysium. Really enjoyed this film. It was partly shot here in Vancouver, and I like the direction that it took and the look of it too. And it's got some astounding special effects in there. So if you like that kind of stuff, you like the futuristic thrillers, check out Elysium. Put that one on your list. Switching gears completely now, we're talking family drama in one of the best of the year. Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal in Denis Villeneuve's Prisoners. And this is a harrowing story about child abduction around Thanksgiving and what one family member will do when the limits of family loyalty and vigilante justice are thrust upon him. Check it out.
Where they are. There. I want to talk. You're a free man. I'm a free man. Hey! Tell me what you did with them. Tell me.
They didn't cry until I left them.
What did you say?
Oh man, I mean, Gyllenhaal and Jackman are great, but then you've got Paul Dano, Melissa Leo, Terrence Howard, just incredible cast in this film. And when I first started watching it, it just hit me on this gut level that it wasn't like most thrillers. There are a lot of quiet moments that let the mood sort of take over. It's got a really haunting score. You see that sort of dark look to it. It's always raining in the movie, so it creates this beautiful, tense, moody atmosphere that just adds to the horror surrounding the story. Now, I don't want to tell you what happens in the story, whether it's good or bad. It just takes a lot of great twists and turns, and Jake Gyllenhaal I'm not usually a fan of. He astounded me in this film. I thought he was sensational, and there is not a lot known about his character, and that was what I appreciated about this film. They offer little hints about the stories of these characters, but you don't get the full story. It's not served up for you on a silver platter, so you're left guessing a lot of times. You're left filling in the blanks, and you're going to be discussing it for days after you see the film. So Prisoners, one of my favorites of the year, a gripping thriller, much like Zodiac and Seven. So check that one on the Christmas list as well. Now, we're talking about one of the biggest bombs of the year, but I really enjoyed this film, Disney's The Lone Ranger. You've got Armie Hammer donning the mask and taking on the iconic role with Johnny Depp as his trusty Tonto. Check it out.
Eyes cut by the bullets that killed him. From the great beyond, he will protect you. And the ones you love.
You want me to wear a mask?
The men you seek think you are dead, Kimosabe. Better to stay that way.
Yeah, I mean, it got universally panned by most critics. Director Gore Verbinski, I thought, brought a lot of style to this one. There are some great action, explosions, gunfights. It's very funny. And I thought the chemistry between Hammer and Depp was great. I just didn't understand why people loathed this movie so much. I thought it was a fun ride. Sure, it was bloated, but I mean, if you're going to see a Lone Ranger movie set, released today, you're going to have it sort of being full of all that great stuff. And the train scene at the end of the movie, that is worth sitting through the first 2 hours, because the final half hour, 45 minutes action sequence in this movie is awesome. So check out the Blu-ray. It's loaded with jam-packed features, and you know what? I, for one, will defend the Lone Ranger. It kind of falls under the John Carter thing for me. I really like that one. Okay, next we're going to be talking about Kick-Ass 2, and Aaron Taylor Johnson is back as the reluctant superhero. And this is sort of like a street vigilante justice kind of thing, and he picks up after the events of the first one, of course, with Carrie, what's her name here? Chloe Grace Moretz, and Christopher Mintz-Plasse sort of turns into a different superhero villain in this one. But you've got Jim Carrey joining the mix, Donald Faison from Scrubs, John Leguizamo, and Morris Chestnut has a little bit more room to grow in this one. The effects in this one weren't as good, and it really sort of is a bit violent in a lot of parts, so it didn't have the best message, I thought. It didn't have the wit and the humor of the first Kick-Ass. I thought at times it was a little bit gratuitous. So Kick-Ass 2, to me, not a total winner. I think you're probably better off just sticking with the first one. Although, Jim Carrey gives a rather charismatic performance as Colonel Stars and Stripes, but he famously distanced himself from the promotion for the movie because he just didn't agree with all the violence in it. Although I have to say, he should have thought of that when he was filming it. Okay, next we're talking about The Family, and this stars Robert De Niro and Michelle Pfeiffer, and it's from director Luc Besson, who is the very eccentric Frenchman who gave us Leon the Professional. But this stars a mafia boss and his family who get relocated to a sleepy town in France under a witness relocation program after they snitch on the mob, but they soon find that they're reverting back to their old habits. It's very quirky and has some interesting moments. Tommy Lee Jones also in the cast, but the writing was subpar, and it really sort of tried to cover some ground that had already been done. It tried to be funny and dramatic, and it didn't really quite strike a balance, although it's got some interesting French sort of country cottage type scenarios, like fish out of water type things. But other than that, I didn't really care for The Family. Not really on my must-have list for this holiday season. But one that is, attention directioners, and our final one is, yes, Morgan Spurlock's, I guess you could call it a bit of a documentary, more of a concert film, but One Direction, This Is Us, and you want to get the Ultimate Fan Edition, which has the original theatrical cut and an extended fan cut. Okay, you know what? I went in with an open mind, and I was very delighted. Morgan Spurlock takes you on an all-access look at the band that has captured the hearts of millions of fans worldwide. They're just a lovable bunch of English rascals, and I really like that the movie got into their personal sides. They go back to their hometowns when they're sort of between touring schedules. It's got one too many performances, I think, but that was for the 3D crowd. Other than that, though, I felt like I had learned a lot about this band. I actually grown to respect them and their sort of rise to stardom from reality show fame. So you know what? Morgan Spurlock, the director of Super Size Me, does a really good look at showing why these guys are relevant, why they're popular, and just takes a lighthearted look at them as a band. Plus, it's got some great concert performances, but one too many songs in my mind. But yes, if you're a directioner, you're a fan of this band, this is a must-have for this holiday season. There you go, guys. Jam-packed edition of This Week on Blu-ray and DVD. We'll see you in a few weeks. I'm Thor Dykow. You can check me out on Twitter. Let me know what you thought of these titles. We'll see you next time on BreakfastTelevision.ca.